A Greensboro man accused of killing a woman in a deadly domestic violence case stood in front of the judge for the first time today. In court, the district attorney painted a violent relationship between the two.
The DA says 3 months ago, Brian Bigelow was charged with domestic violence. Officers accused him of strangling Katrina Veers, and on Monday, officers found Veers unresponsive at Bigelow's house. She later died at the hospital. Fox 8's Ho Jung Roo was in court today. Ho Jung, obviously a lot of history here. What else did you learn?
Yeah, Neil, well, according to the Guilford County District Attorney, she says during an interview with Bigelow, he admitted to fighting with Katrina Veers on Monday, hitting her with his hands, kicking her, and using wooden boards. Brian Bigelow sat silently when a judge told him how serious the charges before him are.
Charged with one count of first-degree murder. That is an offense that carries a potential maximum sentence of the death penalty or life without parole. You are also charged with one count of kidnapping. That is an offense that carries a potential maximum sentence of 19 years in prison.
Craziness. That's absolute craziness. This guy looks crazy. And, as you just heard, one of his charges carries the penalty of 19 years. And then the first one, the judge said life in prison or death, the death penalty. This lady lost her life. Condolences to her family once again. As I said in the video that I covered when this story was breaking. But just to hear the details, this individual was accused of strangling the woman, using wooden boards on the woman, physically punching the woman. God knows what else. Not only maybe, physical abuse, but, could have been a lot of psychological abuse. It's a reason why she wasn't able to break herself away from this man right here. And whatever that reason was, it didn't work out in her favor. And that's why I was saying in the previous video that, once it starts getting violent and stuff like that, it's just time to go. Because a lot of times, people kind of get into this thing mentally where they think they can change someone or, oh, well, it happened one time where they won't do it again. Well, no, it could be worse the next time. And how many of these stories do you have to see or hear, before you just kind of wisen up and, do something different or just get yourself to a more safer space. This is just definitely very unfortunate. In my opinion, it should get the maximum of the penalties because, it's heinous. If someone lost their life at your hands and you had already been arrested for this like a few months back and didn't learn from that, and then you took it a step further with actually taking a life, and it's just like, was it really worth it? Was it jealousy? Was it envy? What was it? Because of it just in my mind it's just like I can't really understand what would make you get yourself into this type of situation. And even this, I'm not sure if that's where the camera is pointing or whatever, but it's just like he's staring off into space. So this guy obviously has something going on that isn't, he shouldn't be able to just walk around amongst, people in society because, if it's happened once, it definitely happened again. And I'm all up for like second chances and stuff like that, but sometimes, that type of stuff doesn't fly with everybody. I'm gonna let this just finish out and just give him a little bit more commentary and just close out this video.
Sentence of 19 years in prison.
He's accused of kidnapping and killing 40-year-old Katrina Veers on Monday. We know.
Okay, so I stand corrected here. So he kidnapped her and then, you know, the unfortunate event happened. So maybe she was trying to get herself to a safe space. Maybe she was trying to stay away from him, but you know, if he physically went to wherever she was and took her and brought her to where, you know, his residence was to kill her, then that's a whole different story. So I do stand corrected on that.
At some point, the two were dating because of a different set of charges against Bigelow from August 22nd. The court documents say Bigelow was in a dating relationship with Veers at the time. In that August incident, he's accused of strangling and beating Veers.
The allegations are that not only did he strangle her, but that he had used a bamboo stick, and she had injuries about her body from that.
The DA said,
Wow, so he beat her with the bamboo stick. And if you're not really familiar with bamboo, bamboo is very, very tough. Um, I can't imagine what this lady had went through. Um, you know, if this is a jury trial or whatever, you know, once all the evidence gets laid out, you know, I can't imagine him getting anything less than the maximum with this. This is, you know, very heinous, very horrible. Um, and he's a very dangerous person who I don't feel like should, you know, be, like I said, walk amongst society like that, especially after something like this. Let's see what else they have to say here before we can kind of wrap it up.
and that's not the only thing in Bigelow's past.
He had a robbery with a dangerous weapon and simple assault. That offense date was May the 20th, 2025.
And the problems continued for Bigelow. According to the DA, even though he was facing these previous charges, the DA says he didn't show up for court.
Based on the fact of the allegations, as well as the previous charges that he's facing, as well as his history of failing to appear, the state would be requesting that he has no bond.
Accusations that got Bigelow talking.
I was already in custody as far as these charges are concerned. When I talked to the detectives, I was very intoxicated. I still tried to talk to them and let them know what happened. In all honesty,
Mr. Bigelow, I would advise you.
Sir,
The judge dismissed Bigelow and sided with the state's request on this case.
So, as you see, yeah, from his mannerisms, you know, he does a lot of talking with his hands and stuff like that. You know, he does a lot of hand gestures and hand movements and talking with his hands and stuff like that. So, you know, this is very, very terrible. I don't want to judge him like, you know, he will be judged here, you know, coming up, but you know, everything speaks for itself. I mean, we heard it. We heard it in in this new segment here. You know, everything speaks for itself. He shouldn't have a bond. No, he shouldn't have a bond. But go ahead and close this video out. If you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, this is Justin Paul. Peace.